studio.
Yeah, hi. Is Dee Snider there, please? This is Brendon
Who's
here.
calling?
Brendon here from House of Noizz Radio in New Zealand.
Hey, Brendon, how are you, man? This is D.
Hey, Dee, how's it going? How are you this morning? Or
I'm doing good.
this afternoon.
I was expecting your call.
Yeah.
Yes. What's the time? What time is it by you?
Oh, it's 5 a.m. here in New Zealand.
Oh, you poor bastard. Sorry, dude. We could have done it later.
Oh, that's fine, man. Along with me's Max Thrasher. He's the producer of the show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good, man.
Hey, nice talking to you.
Likewise. So, what are we talking about?
Okay, I always got a few questions for you, Dee, just to help promote your work in New Zealand. I suppose we might as well start if you're ready.
Absolutely.
Okay, first question. How are things with Twisted Sister? What's the latest developments?
I thought you were going to say we thought you were dead. Dee Snider, we thought you were dead. The latest developments. Well, I mean, really, for the latest cutting-edge Twisted Sister information, you got to go to twistedsister.com. But we're doing reunion shows. You know, we got together last year for the first time in, since '87. We, want to put our differences behind us and go out and do some shows and have some fun. And we've been doing select shows since then. We did about 14, 15 last year, and we did about 20 in total, only done this year. So it's not like full-blown touring. It's just weekend warrior stuff because we've all got other things going on.
Who brought about the Twisted Sister reunion? Whose idea was it?
Whose idea was it? I'm not sure. If I was, no, I was going to say something really sarcastic. No, I think AJ, the drummer, I think he really instigated and tried to patch the differences between the band members. And really it started, maybe 5-6 years ago, slowly started, and it, without even a reunion in mind, it was really sort of becoming friends again. We were, we had spent a lot of time together. We had some real success and all over the world, and it was a shame that we ended on such a sour note. So the first step was starting to become friends. And then after that happened, slowly we sort of started heading in that direction.
All right, cool. Well, we're glad to see Twisted Sister back together again. It's good.
Yeah.
Real well, that's all. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, we had a lot of success in New Zealand, and the time I spent down there were great. I hope that before we disband again, because we haven't restarted the band. It's not Twisted Sister for the next millennium, man. It's an oldies show, man. It's we're giving people for ourselves. It's some sort of weird closure, and God, I hate that word. And then for the fans, it's just a chance maybe to see it one last time, or maybe see it once because you never got to see it the first time around. You blinked and you missed it.
Cool.
Yeah, it still looks like a great show. I've seen the DVD, Dee Snider, and what was it?
Division, the Sick Motherfuckers.
Yeah, the Sick Motherfuckers one.
Well, that was me just going out and doing Twisted stuff for the first time, and I've always stayed in shape. I'm fit. The running joke is there's good news and bad news. The bad news is that we look like a bunch of Asian drag queens. The good news is we always look like Asian drag queens. It wasn't like we were a bunch of pretty boys, we got nothing to live up to. So, we stayed in shape, and the show, we do it full on, with the hair, the makeup, the costumes, the whole 9 yards. And people are really fired up, I read a review, and it said when a reunion is bad, it makes you feel old when you see it, and when it's good, it makes you feel young. And fortunately, I think people are reliving their youth when they see Twisted Sister in concert.
Awesome! You seem to be in great shape. Are you still doing bodybuilding? You still doing?
Yeah, I always stayed worked out. I was always clean and sober, and sort of not a health nut, but I always stayed fit, and I always work out and stayed in shape, like I said. And now it's really paying off for me because all my peers look like crap. So, they were laughing at me when I was clean and sober. Ha! Look at you now, you fat bald bastards.
Hey, how about right here we're checking the song. Well, we're recording now. We're gonna broadcast probably in a couple of weeks' time, maybe a week time. the interview.
Yes.
But how about you name us a song that we should play?
Well, I mean, there's so many songs that I wrote all the Twisted songs, and of course there's the big famous ones. But if I was going to ask you to play one right now, I would ask you to play the title track from our second album. It's sort of the words we live by. It's called "You Can't Stop Rock and Roll."
Excellent. We're definitely going to do that.
Yeah, consider it done. Okay, now re-recording "Stay Hungry." That's the news. So how's that coming along?
Yeah, that's kind of an odd thing, right?
Well, yeah, it hasn't really been done before, so
I think it's a great
No.
idea.
innovative.
Well, here was the deal. First of all, it was brought to our attention. It was 20 years ago that we released "Stay Hungry," our biggest album, and here we are. We're friends again, and we're having a great time getting along. And we realized that when things started coming apart already, when we were recording "Stay Hungry," we were already starting to have problems from within. But we were holding together because we still had our dream and we had our focus and our goal and ahead of us. But we were already starting to come apart. We weren't happy with the production. The producer, the record company, they came in. They said, "Oh, you know what? Here's these dirtbags from New York. Let's clean them up a little bit and make them accessible to the masses." And we were, a glam metal band, but heavy on the word metal. And they really tried to take that out of us. And so what we did, we said, what would happen if we revisited this album as friends in the studio together, producing it ourselves the way we wanted to do it. So the songs are the same songs, and the arrangement's very similar, but just the attack and sonically, it's just that much heavier. Plus, we brought back a couple of tracks that the producer decided he didn't want on the record, and we wanted a few extra tracks. And even the album cover, our original concept for the "Stay Hungry" album cover was different, but the photo session got screwed up, and we couldn't use the original concept. But now with digital technology, we could fix the problems we couldn't fix before. So the album cover for the "Still Hungry" record is the original concept for the "Stay Hungry" record. So it's turning out to be kind of a fun, interesting project, and we'll see what people think.
Cool, man. I heard that the original concept of the album had something to do with Schwarzenegger, and there's some story behind it that I haven't quite heard, and it's I couldn't find anything about it.
That's the album title. I mean, I read Arnold Schwarzenegger's book, Stay Hungry. He had a book. He had a movie called Stay Hungry, but he had a book called Stay Hungry, which was half biography, half motivational. And I was really fired up. I read it in like 1981, 82. He wrote it in 79. And so it fired up on Arnold speak, and I've been, like I said, a bodybuilding enthusiast and what have you my whole life. I wrote the Stay Hungry record, and we named the album Stay Hungry after the book, and we dedicated the album to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Interestingly enough, I don't know if it made it down to New Zealand, but all these years later, Arnold starts running for governor of California, and he decides to use "We're Not Going to Take It" as his campaign song, which he inspired me to write. So he's now inspired by the music that he inspired me to write, which is just kind of cool. And then he asked me to come out and sing at his campaign rally, and that was surreal. I think I went on after like a children's choir or something.
Yeah.
Felt very Spinal Tap, but I got this awesome picture of me and Arnold on stage, during the song. It was pretty cool.
Well, you'll be happy to know that it did make it to TV here in New Zealand. It was actually the first time I've seen Dee Snider on New Zealand TV for years. It was great.
He just said, "Hey, he's not dead, and he's in pretty good shape."
Okay, what's the best advice you could give to someone who wants to be a singer in a band, Dee?
Oh man, I got 4 kids. My oldest, and let's see, my 21-year-old is a singer in a band. My 14-year-old is a singer in a band, and my 16-year-old plays drums in a band. And now my 7-year-old daughter, she ran out on stage at my last show and started just doing a set for the audience during my show. I was like, what's going on here? So I sit them all down and say, "Listen, kids, parlay." That's my advice, parlay. And they go, "Daddy, what's parlay?" And I say, "Go get a dictionary, you little bastards." No, I say, parlay means whatever you achieve, you have to learn. You have to figure out how you can turn that into something else, whether it's building your own studio or whatever, because rock and roll only goes on forever for the Ozzies, the Claptons, and the and the Billy Joels of the world. Most of us have 3 to 5 years, and these days it's like 1 to 2 years. So
Okay.
I just say take whatever you got and just get ready to figure out. Okay, now what can I turn this into for the next 50 years of my life?
All right. What do you think about the rock and roll today? Is there actually rock and roll these days?
I love it. I'm a fan of the new metal. I'm a fan of the new stuff. Most of my peers, most of my fans, they hate it. They want to live. I've got a call waiting, but I'm not picking it up because you guys rate.
Oh, thanks.
So most of them want to, they like to live in the past. I love the new stuff. It's a lot of great stuff out there. I'm just looking forward to the return of big rock in the sense that the bands, the performers look like there's something bigger than reality. Not these guys. Most of these guys today look like they just put gas in your car.
Okay. What do you say? Another song, Brendon.
Another song. Well, you got to pull out the big guns at this point. I think it's time for "I Wanna Rock."
Awesome. Done.
Wanna Rock. Yeah.
All right.
It's a great song. God damn it.
Okay, back in the 80s, it's reported that Twisted Sister challenged
Ooh,
Manowar
it's a good one.
to a street fight, and Manowar didn't show up. Can you elaborate on this story at all?
Oh, it's great. That's awesome. Yeah, well, that's totally true. Manowar and Hanoi rocks, but you would expect Manowar to show up. That's the part. That's anyway. Yeah, we were at a particularly low point in our careers. Twisted. We had just lost our first record deal with Secret Records, and it was winter. I was married. I had a kid. I had no money. We had lost our tour. And we went out, and I read in the papers in the English press that Manowar said that we used to play wet T-shirt contests in the United States, that we did play wet T-shirt contests. And they were making fun of Twisted. And in Hanoi Rocks said we were a bunch of something about being ugly or whatever. And I was just like, which, it's bizarre because it was true. And but I was just like pissed that here people are taking cheap shots. So I sent a letter to the magazine, and I called out Hanoi Rocks and Manowar to a fight. So Manowar responded and said, "Oh yes, battle of the bands." And I said, "No, my fist, your face." And I said, "This isn't a battle of bands. You insulted me. Apologize, or I'm going to kick your ass." So we set a date. And we all went down in England, and tons of fans were there, and the press was there, and of course Manowar and Hanoi Rocks did not show up because they're pussies. There's no doubt about it. And we walked around looking for them in garbage pails, and the girls in the ladies' room. We looked in there, and we couldn't find them. So they were pronounced Mano-Wimp in the press.
Okay.
And they said, "Well, is that the end day?" Me and the band. And I said, "No, it's not the end. Because now we're going to find them and we're going to kick their ass. Just because they didn't show up doesn't mean they're off the hook. Either they apologize or they're getting beaten." I said, "I'll go down to a show. I'll drag them off stage in front of their audience and kick their ass."
Ooh.
So, two things happened. One, Hanoi Rocks wrote a letter to Sounds magazine and said they are the new flower children of rock and roll. They don't want any problems, and they apologize. And Manowar, Ross the Boss, sent a letter, because he was in a band called The Dictators with Mark the Animal Mendoza, our bass player, sent him a letter, and I won't expose the full contents, but basically it just said that, look, we can't apologize because we're Manowar, and and we have our image, and please don't beat us up, and we won't say anything about you guys anymore. So Mendoza saved the letter, and he told Ross, he said, "We will leave you alone, but if you ever open your mouth again, I'm going to send this letter to the English rock press and let them publish it, so they can see the kind of pussies you guys really are with your big, Man-O-War, mannishness bullshit." So anyway, that's the Man-O-War story.
Okay, thanks very much for sharing that one. It's very entertaining.
Yes, I think it was Lemmy from Motorhead who named them Man-O-Wimp, actually.
Okay.
All
All right. Okay. Tell us the latest on Strangeland 2, Dee, the movie that we've been waiting for all this time.
Well, I'm glad that my disturbing visions have reached New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually, what's been going on with Strangeland 2, it was greenlit to go years ago, and we've been ready to go. And the company that made the first one I don't know if you heard about the Enron scandal, but basically had a big corporate mess happen where the CFO was indicted for cooking the books, and the company has been in court for 5 years, and all the properties that were involved have been stuck in a big court battle. So we've got a script, we've got directors and producers and studios, and we're ready to go to start filming, and we're just waiting for the whole court mess to unwind. And it looks like, after 5 years of waiting, that it's finally winding down. So we're optimistic that sometime within the next year we'll get in the studio and we will start filming Strangeland 2, which I promise you is as disturbing, if not more disturbing, than Strangeland 1.
Awesome.
All right. Not so long ago, there was an album of Helsing's Curse.
Yes.
What year was it?
That was
last year. Van Helsing's Curse came out last year.
Could you tell us a bit of a story behind that? I mean, what is the story? It's a rock opera, as I understand, or...
Yeah, well, I'll be glad to explain it to you. Van Helsing's Curse was, over here in the States, Halloween is a very big holiday. Is second only to Christmas. Christmas is the biggest holiday, then comes Halloween. So it's very popular, and a lot of parties and a lot of celebration, but no real music. And it dawned on me one day that it needed music, and I put together a production company that created Van Helsing's Curse, which is a 18-piece rock orchestra that mixes classical music with rock and originals, and Latin chants, Latin vocals, and a story. And it's making the soundtrack for Halloween. We released our first record last October. It was a little late. This year, we're going out. We have our first touring company going out because it's a show, as well as a musical performance. And I'll actually be going out live and narrating the show this year. In future years, the plan is to have multiple performing groups going around the country and hopefully even around the world during Halloween, during the month of October, and performing for people. So every October, Van Helsing's Curse comes back, and in future years, we hope to do other stories, other volumes of Van Helsing's Curse music, and just have it become a bigger and bigger Halloween musical entity.
Cool.
Okay, excellent.
Okay, now...
Play Van Helsing's Curse track.
I have to ask me. I ask a question. How's in New Zealand, is Halloween celebrated at all?
It started like maybe about 10 years ago, and it's gradually getting bigger every year. So, yeah, hopefully it'll get there.
I noticed that in England as well. So, this is something that's long-term project. Me and the guys who are from my band Widowmaker, Al Petrelli, who plays with Trans-Siberian Orchestra and Megadeth and amongst other bands, and Joe Franco. This is our brainchild and our production. So it's something we're going to be doing many records of over the years to come, and hopefully we'll turn into a big international thing. So hopefully New Zealand will get to see it.
Okay, well, we've got an interview lined up with Sebastian Bach in a couple of hours, so appropriate time to ask you about the Skid Row situation that happened about a week ago or something, wasn't it, reported?
Man, people make a big deal out of this thing. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Are you going to beat them up?
Yeah, well, there's no problem. I've got no problem with Skid Row. I do radio here in the States. I got to be careful. I would always say that I'm a DJ, but I found out that overseas they think I'm in a club spinning. I'm scratching records or something. No, like radio, And I have a national show called The House of Hair. It's on 173 stations nationally. And I do nights in Philadelphia. I have a studio in my house. So anyway, but my style is very sarcastic, and I make fun of a lot of the bands, including myself, as you heard me in the beginning say we're aging transvestites, But that's what I do. And you see me on VH1, you see me on MTV. They bring me in all the time because I'm always making wisecracks. So we did a show with Skid Row, and they canceled because their singer, his wife had a baby. Fair enough. So they asked me to say something on stage, and when I went up there, I said, Skid Row's not here because the Sebastian Bach impersonator that they have fronting the band, his wife had a baby. And I laughed, and the audience laughed. Well, it got back to Skid Row, and they were all upset, and everybody's upset. And I'm like, you know what, give me a freaking break. Everybody knows that Dee Snider is a wise ass. If I didn't make a wise comment, that should have shocked you. And I said, I know for a fact that you guys tune in, and you guys laugh and enjoy my sense of humor. So it's funny when I make a joke about Judas Priest, but it's not funny if I make a joke about Skid Row. No, that's not the way it goes. It's either funny or it's not funny. So you can't just pick and choose who you're going to laugh at. So I said, lighten the hell up, and besides the fact, the guy is a Sebastian Bach impersonator. So what are you going to do?
Okay. All right. Dee, a long time ago, there was a book called Teenage Survival Guide, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And, to be honest with you, I actually grew up reading this book. And to be honest with you, once again, I must say that I can't explain how much it helped me. And just a couple of weeks ago, somebody actually told me that it wasn't approved by you, the release of this book. So I'm kind of like, wow.
Oh, no, well, clarify. First of all, where are you from?
Well, originally I'm from Russia.
Okay, well, I was going to say, in Russia, every kid in Russia grew up on that book. They use it in schools now.
Yep.
I mean, I was just interviewed by the major Russian newspaper because it was in the Russian magazines and it's in hardcover. So I know. No, don't worry. It wasn't that it wasn't approved. It was about 80% of what I wanted it to be. I wanted a book that was like your big brother or an uncle or...
Well, that's pretty much worked, I must say.
Yeah, someone talking to you like straight talk.
Yeah.
And the guy they had working with me, he kept trying to make it more intellectualized. And I kept saying, stop fixing up my words. I want it to be just in plain talk so people understand.
Yeah.
So I was angry when they published the book and it wasn't the final version that I wanted, but it's about 80% there. 80%, but it's been amazing how many the reaction in Russia, and then people who did get the book, because I didn't support it in the States.
Yeah.
I had so many people come up to me and say what a great book it is. The reviews on the book said it was the best book ever written about growing up. So now we're actually thinking, I've got the original manuscript, the finished version, and we're actually thinking about reissuing it. Not as a book.
Please do that.
Yeah, and put it out, but not even as just update the information in there and just put it out as a book that's for, that it's by a rock star, just as a book for about growing up. I mean, my own kids have read the book on their own, and it blows my mind that my kids are reading my book and telling me it's great. So anyway, it's flattering that people enjoyed it that much. I just wish that I didn't have a falling out with the publishers at the time it was first released.
Well, yeah, I've never read it. I'm very keen to read it, and the only way I'm going to get my hands on it is if I pay
it's a great fucking book,
$50 or something. I think it's going for on Amazon and all those sites. So
we're getting ready. Actually, we're getting ready to film a reality show on my family. VH1. I don't know if you guys have VH1, but VH1 in the United States is doing a mini reality series on my family. And so our agent, I should say, says, "Oh, all right, don't worry, we're going to wait till the show comes out, and they're going to see your kids, and then we're going to put out the book again." So I'm hoping that within the next 6 months or a year, we'll have a publisher and we'll reissue the book, and you won't have to pay $50.
Well, you know what? Just coming back to the question of the book, I just. I've wanted to say it for 15 years. I'm going to kick myself. I'm not going to do it now. Just thanks for writing it. That's so helpful.
It's giving me a chill, man. I just, it's very flattering when people, I just tried to be honest, and I wanted people to know. I mean, the biggest problem when you're a kid and you're growing up is you think you're the only one. Everybody thinks they're the only one going through it. And what I learned, and I really learned it first with the We're Not Going to Take It video, which was a personal story, in this video of a father yelling at the son in his bedroom, and everybody identified with it because so many people identified. Yeah, my dad yelling at me when I was a kid, and I said, you mean I wasn't the only guy getting like screamed at by his father in his bedroom for no reason at all? So I realized that that all these problems that we go through, that we think we're alone, we're not alone. And just reading someone like me saying, oh, no, I was there too, really helped a lot of people. So I appreciate that what that book meant to you. That's great.
Well, excellent. Thanks.
All right, cool. Being one of the minority in the hard rock metal circuit who's been clean of drugs your entire career, tell me how it feels to be around people who are living a drug-dependent lifestyle, and have you ever been peer pressured by other musicians to do drugs, or what's the story there?
Well, I was always clean and sober, and I hung out with people who weren't, though. But I was such a nut that, as my friends used to say, we don't want to see you high. They never asked me to get high because they didn't be afraid of what I might do if I was. So that was never a problem with the peer pressure. But it made me an alien within the rock community because they didn't get me and I didn't get them. I saw what they were doing to themselves. They couldn't understand how I could be a rocker. Like it was a requirement. They're definitely. We get this after a while, even from the audience. I think they got kind of pissed when they found out that I was clean and sober because somehow they felt that I was lying to them, but I never did. I was always very honest about it. And there's people like Ted Nugent and Gene Simmons, So it's a small group, but there's some great performers and great musicians. And I understand, though, why some people feel a need to get high. We live in a society, we live in a world where people feel that they can't let themselves go unless they have an excuse, and society encourages that. If you act crazy and you're not high, you're weird. If you act crazy and you're high, oh, he's just drunk. He's just wasted.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you heard, hey, come on out on the dance floor. Oh, let me just have a couple more drinks. Why? Because you want an excuse in case you embarrass yourself. So I mean, that's the way society is. Until society changes it's the way it views that, and it lets people just feel comfortable to be themselves and not be ridiculed if they're not the coolest thing out on the dance floor or the coolest person. Then people are always going to turn to drugs and alcohol. So but the strange thing now is that I meet my peers, and I never hung out with any of them back in the day, and they're all like me now. They're clean, they're sober, they're working out, they're married, they got kids, and now I'm thinking of starting to doing heroin because I want to be different. I don't want to be the same as all. Yeah. I'm sitting there with Slash and Duff, and they got their kids and their wives, and they're drinking water, and oh yeah, man, I'm working out, I'm going out. This is what happened.
Did you try Nikki Sixx?
I want to be an individual, man. I'm an individual.
Did you try Nikki Sixx or Tommy Lee? They might be able to help you with that.
Repeat that. What was that?
What?
What did you just say?
I said, did you try Nikki Sixx or Tommy Lee? They might be able to help you.
No, Nikki was there too. I just was at a big event down at the Hard Rock Hotel in Orlando.
Yeah.
And it was me, it was Nikki, he was with his wife, and Slash and Duff were with their wives. Simon Kirk from Bad Company was there, and all these guys, and Kevin Dubrow, and everybody was clean and sober, and it was great to see, but it was like, wow, you finally caught up with me. I mean, and now they finally realized that I had the right idea.
We spoke with Nicky a few months back, and he was all like, nah, I don't do drugs anymore, not my cup of tea, with such kind of strange intonation in the voice. So I'm thinking whether or not he's really clear these days.
Well, you know what? I mean, hanging out with him, I think he is. I mean, how stupid do you have to be to nearly die multiple times and not frickin' stop? I mean, he didn't take. He's lucky he's alive. And at some point, you gotta say, you know what? This is crazy. I mean, him and Donna D'Erico, his wife. I think they have five or six kids.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's. That, they got something. They got a job to do. They got a lot of kids, and he can't be doing what he was doing before. He's got a responsibility, and I think Nikki takes that pretty seriously. They seem very into their, raising their kids and taking care of them. You can't do that, wasted, not properly.
Have you heard the Brides of Destruction, his current band?
Yeah, I heard one of the tracks. I thought it was pretty cool. I give any of the bands that are trying to do something new, I definitely give them my respect. I think that they're up against a real resistance, though. The fact of the matter is, the fans of our old music do not want us to change. They don't want us to move forward. They don't want to hear new music. They want to hear the old music, and that's most of them. I'm not saying every single one, but the majority of them. And also the younger fans, they want their own heroes, not their brothers or their mothers or fathers' heroes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can understand that. Every generation wants its own heroes. So. So you got Twisted understands that. So our view about reuniting is really doing an old school show, giving people the way it was, the best we possibly can, and leaving people with a great memory of having had that chance to see the band one more time. And then we'll all move on with our lives and doing our things. I'm very busy, and the other guys are very busy. So. Like I said, I respect Nikki and Tracy for what they're trying to do. I just don't think they're going to have much success with it, unfortunately.
All right. What was the last album you actually bought?
The last album I actually bought, you know what? I'm just trying to think. I'm like so off music. Andrew WK. I was a big Andrew WK fan. Tenacious D. Audio Slave. What did I buy? I'm just trying to think who else's record I bought. I know I bought another record out there. The band that what Dave Grohl played with. I forgot. He played drums on the album. Queens of the Stone Age.
Queens of the Stone Age.
Love that. So I mean, I like a lot of what I'm hearing out there, but music has become such it's just I don't do it. I mean, it's just something I do. It became my job. That's the weird thing is when all of a sudden your passion becomes your job one day, you don't find yourself turning to it for relaxation anymore. You know what I mean? So like when I'm doing music, I'm focusing on music. But when I'm not doing music, the last thing I want to do is music. What I like to do now is like ride my motorcycle. You don't listen to any music, just listen to the sound of the motor and the wind blowing through your ears, and just blast around. That's my new passion.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, we'll just stop the interview here for a second, and we'll ask you if you could do a sting for us for our radio show. Just every time we play Twisted Sister or Dee Snider or Van Helsing's Curse, just something like, "Hi, this is Dee Snider. You're listening to the House of Noizz."
House of Noizz. Okay. Of Noizz. Hey, all right, people, listen up. This is Dee Snider from Twisted Sister. Yeah, you know me. Baby, you are listening to the House of Noizz.
Thanks very much, Dee.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Lovely.
All right, what do we got?
Off we go. After you're done with Stay Hungry and the reunion concerts, do you reckon there's a possibility of another Twisted Sister record, new material? You guys writing anything at all?
No. I mean, the guys hate when I say that because I wrote all the songs, but I'm really, to me, doing Twisted Sister is going back to the future, and I'm not about that. I'd rather show you something I'm working on that nobody has even heard, or maybe nobody even bought or shown interest in, but it's something new that I'm excited about, than something old. Now, don't take that as being I'm ashamed or not proud, or I loved my time in Twisted. I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of the music we made and what we did, but that was then. Now I'm moved on into different directions and new things. So I'm working with movies, and I'm working with television and radio, and my Van Helsing's Curse project and things like that. So to me, the idea of making Twisted Sister music has no appeal to me whatsoever. They say never say never, and I would never use the word never, but I've not even considered, and we've had offers to go in and make new Twisted Sister records. This is really a temporary thing.
Well, fair enough, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, some of these bands doing reunions, it's like they never leave.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Kiss and all, but what the hell? A 5-year farewell tour? And two of the guys got so tired they left. Two of the guys, what's next? They replaced Gene and Paul? I mean, come on, man. They're like a fart in a paper bag. They never leave. It's either a farewell tour or you're back together. Take your pick. These are Twisted Sister is doing
true.
reunion shows. It's not going to be going on forever.
Just a present for the fans.
Yeah, exactly. I think the fans are getting fed up with Kiss. Quite honestly, I mean, you just can't milk it that much. Or maybe you can. I don't know.
Okay. This question's from a girl. Did you actually enjoy wearing makeup all those years? Tell us about a guy putting on makeup.
Yeah, man. You know, I mean, that was all my idea. I mean, I love it, and it was fun, and I liked the reaction. That's why I started with a little bit and started more and more and more, because I didn't want to be ignored. We were playing a bar scene where people just expected the band to be a glorified jukebox, and by putting on insane clothes and insane makeup and doing crazy things, well, I got attention, and I got in a lot of fights too. So that's what I was trying to do. Later on, it became a way of, I viewed it more like war paint. It was like getting ready for battle, and you'd put on the war paint. I mean, when I returned to it and put it on for the first time in like 20 years, I was like, I was in my home, at my house, in my bathroom, putting the makeup on, just going, man, I was insane. I'm putting the face on, going, this is crazy. I was a grown man going out and, just like unbelievable. And it just cracks me up, So, but it's fun, you know what I mean? It's just really, and it changed your whole frame of mind. You got out on stage and you were a different person. And like I said earlier, that's the problem I think is lacking with a lot of bands. You look at these guys and you could swear they were just putting out lettuce at the grocery store too. They just saw that guy who's singing in that band, man. He was just putting bananas out on a stack at the grocer. So that's not who I want to see when you see Twisted Sister or you see Marilyn Manson. For that, and I love Manson. He's like, wow, this is another world. This is something different. Yeah. It's exciting. We need that in rock and roll.
It's entertainment. It's
That's
entertainment
it.
industry.
It's got to be more. It's got to be more than just the songs. You go to a concert, you're paying money. Look, you go home and listen to the record. Yeah. When I go to the concert, I want to hear the songs, but I want an element in there that I could not get from the CD, and that's a visual one. And Twisted Sister always prided itself on providing that.
Speaking about songs, shall we play some more songs?
Oh, yeah.
Announce us one of the songs, please. Would you?
All right, well, let's see. If we got to go back a little bit, we'll go to the early record. Here's a song that got me in trouble in the 80s. It was amazing to think that, in the 80s we were like one of the most dangerous bands in the world. Now it's easy listening. But I like, if you got the Under the Blade record, I would love for you to play the song Shoot 'Em Down.
Shoot 'Em Down.
Done.
Excellent.
Okay. How did the letters PMRC make you feel today, Dee?
Letters PMRC, they make me laugh because as time has gone on, not only was I proven right, but I've become a hero into a lot of people for what I did there, and and I have continued to hold my position. And as the years have passed, I've watched all the people, the Vice President Gores and then Tipper Gore and all those people back off theirs. I feel the same way I felt 20 years ago as I feel today, and I pride myself on that. I'm not a person who talks crap just for political reasons or because he thinks it's cool. Whether it was cool or it wasn't cool, I spoke truthfully and honestly. And back at the time, some of the things that I said in Washington, people felt hurt my career. When I sat there, and I always had been honest, but here it was on an international level, and I said, I'm clean, I'm sober, I'm married, I've got a kid, and I said, I'm born and raised a Christian, and I still adhere to those beliefs.
Yeah.
And people were seeing Dee Snider, the wild man, saying those things, and a lot of fans were disappointed. And I said, well, if that disappoints you, too bad, because I'm not going to pretend I'm something I'm not for you. You either enjoy my music, you enjoy what I do, and I'm not going to jump through hoops and pretend I'm an asshole because it would make you happy. So at the time, there was people who felt that me speaking my mind was damaging. But as time's gone on, like I said, it's added to my stature in the United States and some other places in the world, and it's people have respected me for it. They did a movie in the States called Warning Parental Advisory, which was a docudrama about the Senate hearings in the 80s, and they asked me to play myself. Since I'm the only guy who's still alive from the rock community who was there, because it was Frank Zappa, John Denver, and me. An accident? I don't think so. That's why I'm wearing Kevlar underpants. So I was so weird because, I went in this movie set, and here's all these actors playing all these other people, playing Frank Zappa, playing Al Gore, playing, these senators, and I'm like the real guy, and everybody's kind of looking at me like I'm a dinosaur on the set of Jurassic Park going, that Tyrannosaurus was really there, So, but it was very cool to see this movie because I was portrayed as a hero, that I saved the day, and that I was, and I kicked their ass, which is what I did.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, before you were talking about heroes, everyone likes a hero for their generation. You brought out Strangeland, the movie, and a lot of the younger crowd who actually haven't heard much about Twisted Sister have watched the movie, and you've kind of become a hero for the next generation of fans through that movie. So a few people want to know, whether you really look as scary as Captain Howdy in person, and just tell us a little bit about the character Captain Howdy, how you came about it and stuff like that.
Well, that's been what's interesting is Strangeland has introduced, as you said, me to a whole new generation. And when I do personal appearances now, there'll be, the age range is like 14 to 50, you know what I mean? It's just amazing. People come up, who were fans of my music, and then now these young kids come up and go, well, I don't really know your music, but man, I love that fucking movie, so, and I wrote the movie for a new generation of horror fans. It was set in the world of body modification and internet crime. As a matter of fact, when I first wrote the script, nobody had used the internet for criminal purposes, not like, for kidnapping and things like that. And I had written the script, I was shopping it, and I remember the first situation where that happened, where someone used the internet to lure someone in. It was in Columbia University in New York, and this guy was torturing this girl, and came out in the papers. And I called my wife up. I said, "Did you see the news?" And she was like, "What?" I said, "Some guy he stole my idea. He stole my idea. He used the internet to lure this girl in, and he tortured her in his room." And she said, "Honey, do you really want to be known as the guy who invented that?" You said, "You really don't want him to name it after you. Today another Snider was committed." So I said, "Yeah, you're probably right. You really don't want to be." But the movie itself, it started with two things. One, with just this realization that the horror was just completely played out. Now, when I first started writing this, it was in the late 80s and early 90s. So, but I said, it's the same old thing. And I was watching Chucky, and I was watching The Leprechaun, and I'm going, what the hell is going on? This stinks on ice. This is crap. It's time for a new, scary guy. And then, plus it also was a time for a new direction of horror. Even the screams, and I know what you did last summer, it's the same old crap. Oh, I'm being chased. Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah, true, yeah.
I wanted something new, reality-based, and then I was looking for a character, and Twisted Sister had these two songs called The Horror-teria, Captain Howdy and Street Justice, which was a story that I intended to do more with. I said, well, there's my bad guy, it's Captain Howdy. And I took the little story from those songs, and then I created the character, like I said, as I started to explore the world of body modification and tribal ritual. I started to build this character. As far as, I'm a pretty scary guy, but I'm not that scary. I'm not. That's 12 hours of special effects makeup, that whole thing. That the full howdy, as we used to call it, and during shooting, but that's what I wanted. I wanted when I wrote. The funny thing is, when I finished the script, the first person I gave it to was my wife, and she read it, and she came downstairs, and I've been with my wife for years. Suzette and I have been, we're 28 years together now. And she said, is there something you want to tell me? And I said, what do you mean? She goes, what the hell is that?
Twisted Forever.
How fucked up? Who am I married to? So I said, no, don't worry. That's my fears, not my dreams. I said, I want to create something that scares me, because if it scares me, then I'm sure it'll scare other people. So I just tried to pick the scariest things I could think of, and the creepiest things I could think of, and embody them in a character. So I'm like I said, I'm glad people are digging it. It's just what freaks me out is sometimes I get people who are crushing on Captain Howdy. I'm going, okay, sick bitch. I mean, he's not supposed to, kids. You're not supposed to like him.
Twisted Forever, eh?
He's a bad guy, bad man, Captain Howdy.
Awesome.
Okay, well, you've done so much with your career, Dee, so to properly cover everything, we'd be talking to you for like a couple of days. So I think we've covered a good cross-section for the New Zealand fans, and thanks very much for your time. Really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure, man. If anything bothers me about the demise of Twisted Sister, that in many countries where we were huge, we were never heard from again. And even though, back in the States, I was doing many things, and you still know Dee Snider. As a matter of fact, now, the name Dee Snider stands alone, which I'm proud of. In other countries like New Zealand and Australia, where Twisted was huge, it's like we fell off the face of the earth. So I appreciate the opportunity to get a chance to talk to these people. I'm glad to hear that things like, Strangeland are getting out there in some capacity. And I hope in the years to come that people will get, reintroduced to Dee Snider and come to know me, not just as the guy from Twisted Sister, but just as a guy who did some pretty crazy things and entertained us, man, because that's what I try to do. At the end of the day, I just want to create things that are entertaining for people and that they enjoy watching or listening to or seeing.
That's excellent. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks very much. We'll let you get
Thanks,
back to
guys,
your
a pleasure.
Pleasure talking to you.
Yeah.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, that was cool, man. He's such a good dude.